Hey there, Danny here. Welcome to my ramblings. I planned on doing a video last night, but um, I went on a date instead, and it lasted a lot longer than I had expected. Um, I can tell you that if you've watched previous videos, you know that I don't like dating. I don't like the newness of getting to know somebody. I don't like the awkwardness. I've never been one that's like dating. Um, I can tell you, and I'm very happy to say it. It was probably the best. I wouldn't say probably. It was the best date I've ever had. I was comfortable. He was a complete gentleman. We went and got pizza at, it's a bar restaurant type place that his niece and her fiance own it. Um, So we went there. We didn't drink. We had sodas with our pizza. We met a little bit before 7, and about a little after 10, we decided, all right, let's head home. We went outside. We sat down and decided to have a cigarette at the smoking bench, and all of a sudden, 1:12 a.m. rolled around. We were quite entertained by some of the drunks that kept coming out and having smoked, which gave us nice laughter. Um, we shared stories, some pretty funny ones. We were laughing. We had a great time. I felt 100% comfortable. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't like any other date that I had been on. But I'll tell you why. Because he was present. He wasn't looking around. He wasn't checking out who else was there. He wasn't we were absorbed in each other. We were both present in that date together, talking and sharing stories and getting to know each other. It was the best date I've ever had in my life. Where this goes, I don't know. But I can tell you that we do have plans for another date. It's so different. It's so different since I've learned to love myself and find my authentic self. Life is so different. Things that would irritate me before don't. Um, Being present is I think a big part of it. You learn as you're learning to grow. You learn to stay in the now, in the present. You don't really you can have your plans for the future, but you don't constantly worry about it or constantly um, spend a lot of time researching or looking into things or anything else. You do what you need to do, and you just kind of go. You kind of go with the flow, and you know. And I'm not sure how you know, but you just kind of know that okay, I'm gonna step down this path here. Okay, wait, now I'm not because yeah, this doesn't feel right. Um, you get rid of a lot of your negative thoughts, you get rid of a lot of your judgment, you get rid of a lot of your you get rid of a lot of all of it. I mean, I totally feel like a completely different person. Um, and it was the date was magnificent. Um, I will definitely be going out with him again. It, we discussed things like how our what our disagreeing styles are and things like that. I mean, we had like a real mature conversation. I don't know if that's because we're older, if it's just because I finally found my true authentic self and I love myself that it just kind of brought the energy of somebody else that same level. And it was, I'm so looking forward to this dating thing now. I 100% am. It was like looking in a mirror almost. I mean, a lot of things that we have been through were quite similar. It, it was, he's laid back, he's mellow, he doesn't get angry. There was no jealousy either, which was spectacular because we did deal with a few drunk guys. He actually handled it pretty well. Um, I was really impressed. I felt comfortable. Um, I'm really looking forward to another date with him, and I look forward to meeting more people and experiencing that. Um, but I weed them out through chatting with them, talking over the phone or texting. I see red flags or anything that I know that's a no go for me. Um, it never progresses to a date, and there's been 4 or 5 of them since I started this that have never progressed to a date. I don't think any. I really don't think only one of them made it more than a week with texting and talking. Um, but here, this yeah, we got it to the date, and it was. I was I was a little nervous, and I was scared, and I sat on the phone with my girl Jen all the way up until I got there, talking to her about it because I was nervous, and she's also had to deal with some codependency and things like that. So she's learning to love her and her she's learning to love herself and get to her true authentic self. And in the dating area, she's a little ahead of me on that. So she's kind of my go-to when I'm not real sure how I want to do things or how I need to do things or anything else. And yeah, it went spectacular. I I cannot believe that at 49 it's the first time in my life I've ever had a truly amazing date. And we talked about things that we like to do. Um, he asked a lot of questions about my RVing and my lifestyle. And I shared it with him. I was as open as I possibly could be with him, telling him the pros and the cons and things like that. Um, so yeah, it's 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 totally different. Totally different. And then I woke up this morning and I called my girl Jen and let her know what happened, and we had a nice long conversation about that. Um, so I just want all of you to know that there's a great life out there once you learn to love yourself and find your true authentic self. There's an amazing life out there. Um, you're not you're not angry, you're not bitter, you're just happy. And you tend to live in the moment more than you do anything else. I mean, you got to plan for your future, but you don't live there. And I think that's a big problem with our society is we tend to either live in our past because we haven't dealt with hurts that we've had from before, um, or issues. Um, and I think we tend to live for the future because it's kind of drilled in our heads in high school that you got to go to college and get married and have kids and buy a house and the whole American dream. So I think that we're kind of brought up to stay focused on our future. The problem is your future is never you never catch up to your future. Even if you do everything that you had planned for your future, the moment that you're doing it and it's happening, that's the now. That's not the future. That's the now. So I think we need to refocus and realize that we need to live now in the present, not in the future, not in the past. Um, when I first started this journey, there was a lot of going through the past that there had to be, so I could get to love myself and get rid of some of the preconditions that were burying me underneath. Um, and then slowly but surely, I didn't have to. And now the past doesn't really pop up too much. Um, I spend a lot of time in the now. But with doing the delivery that I do, I'm in restaurants, and I know a lot of the people that work at these restaurants. Um, Even when I was in Wisconsin and Oklahoma, I mean, you pretty quickly get to know the people in the restaurants. You're in there several times a day, and if you're doing this full time, you're gonna be meeting and getting to know people. So I have interactions that I get to stay in the now with, um, and get to know people. And so I'm really loving living in the now. And going on that date was just, I can't even tell you how magnificent it was to have a normal date. I mean, most of my other dates they usually involved alcohol, and they usually involved the person that I was with wouldn't be present. I mean, they might be while we're having a conversation, but they'd spend quite a bit of time looking around it. And I'm not saying checking out other people, but they would just be looking around and other things. There'd be dull, empty moments of silence. That didn't happen last night. That it was smooth. It was We were present. He was present. I was present. We were in a packed restaurant bar, and it was just the two of us. That was it. Just the two of us. I mean, we did interact with like the server and uh some of the drunks when they came out while we were at the smoking bench, but um really it was he was present. We were present. We were there in the moment together. Um we we laughed so hard. I And what I loved the most about the experience was I tend to meet guys that will share things with you, but they don't share like really embarrassing moments. Um, and he did. We did. We shared some very eh, embarrassing moments that you normally don't tell people when you first get to know them. That's something later down the road when you know that this is going to go somewhere. But we were just very open. We talked about our disagreement styles and and how much we've grown since we were younger. It was it was a magnificent night. I couldn't have asked for anything more, and I'm looking forward to our next date. We do talk and text in between. Um, I work odd hours, and our hours are different. Um, but that doesn't stop us from being able to be in touch. Um, so once you become energetically leveled up and you truly love yourself, and you found your true authentic self and got rid of all of that old preconditioning and all that old pain, and really reevaluated your beliefs, and you're on a whole different path in life. um Things are amazing. I can honestly say that no amount of money could ever buy me the happiness that I have right now. And I have that happiness because I gave it to myself. I worked very hard to get to where I could be happy with who I am, and and learn to stay in the moment and enjoy life. I think a lot of it. I was working on this stuff before Mom got sick and passed, but it really kind of, after Mom passing, kind of really drove it home. Um, I do wish that she could be here and see this stuff and I could share it with her. Um, but that's not possible. Uh, and I don't care how crazy it sounds to somebody else. Um, but it makes me comforted in the grieving process to think that my mom's up there and she's on my side. She's bringing me good things because she knows the good that I do. So I feel like since she's passed, she's been up there being my biggest cheerleader and sending things this way. Um, there were things that I, during this process, especially since she passed, there were things that uh, I didn't remember because I didn't think about it. But as things would pop in and I'd be like, oh, I forgot all about that. And then I'd start looking at that. Um, but I really think that it gives me comfort to think that she's up there giving me what I deserve after all this hard work. And that's why I say the sky's the limit and we're gonna keep moving forward. And I share all of this with you in hopes that when you need to reach out and you need some guidance, I won't ever tell you what to do. Um, but I will run over scenarios of whatever your situation is. Um, and I'll give you a scenario of a friend of mine, AJ. He was going through a divorce and he had a small daughter, and his ex was quite crazy. And I kept telling him, when she texts you or calls you or she starts to try to push your buttons, I said, do not respond. I said, contact me, whether that's calling me or texting me or whatever. I will help you get through it. And he did. It was very tough. It was a long, tedious process. But this woman ended up trying while he was getting his kid in his car. This woman attempted to hit him with her car. And there were like 12 other people that were out in the neighborhood there. It was an apartment complex, that saw it. So there were witnesses, and she ended up getting arrested. He did end up getting custody of his daughter. And he did tell me that he couldn't have done it if I didn't help him through that. So, um, I'll get you my information and we will start taking care of this. Um, just know that the world is magnificent out here. It's once you level up and you're at a different, higher vibration. The honest to God truth is we didn't sit in judgment of these people that the drunks. We didn't sit in judgment. We laughed about it. We laughed about how, yeah, we've done stupid things like that, whatever. Um, and we humored them and had conversations, and sometimes we didn't quite understand what they were saying, or sometimes we did. But it was it was an amazing experience, and I'm really looking forward to the second date and seeing how that goes. I really feel comfortable in his presence. I feel accepted, comfortable. I feel like I'm not judged at all. We're just here. It's just two people getting to know each other, and it's totally different than any other date that I've ever had. Um, there's no peacocking or anything else acting like, oh, I've done this and I've done that. There wasn't any showboating or anything. It was just us peacefully having a conversation and laughing. And anyways, it was amazing. Um, so with that said, I hope you have a great night. Um, I will be back in a day or two. I will try to make sure that I set the dates up on the nights that I don't do the videos. So I hope everything's going great in your life. If not, feel free to reach out. Um, and I'll see you in a few days, guys. Night.